Well, joining us right now, Senator Thom Tillis. And Senator Tillis, good to have you joining us. And first off, how are you doing right now since contracting COVID-19?
I feel good. I took a test. I was in Asheville. I took a test at Mission Hospital. It came back positive, so I canceled all meetings, went back home, tested again on Monday or Saturday morning. I had mild symptoms. Most of them dissipated by Saturday, and I got my sense of taste back the day before yesterday.
All right, and vitals are good. Do you know what your blood oxygen levels are at this point?
I just tested about 15 minutes ago. It was at 99. My heart rate, I have a low heart rate. It's in the low 50s, and my temperature's never exceeded about 98.2. So all the vitals, I've not actually seen a doctor. I've done all this over the telephone, but the doctors tell me I'm in a situation that most people would hope for. I think about so many who have acute cases, and my heart goes out to them. And it looks like I've managed to get past any bad symptoms.
Yeah, well, I know with your daughter being a nurse, you're in no doubt good care there at home as well. And no treatment there as far as remdesivir, dexamethasone like we saw with President Trump?
No, it's just been standard vitamin supplements, zinc, vitamin D. I went out in my backyard and got some sun. Doctors recommend some direct sunlight is a good way to take vitamin D. So I've been following the doctor's orders, and I will up until the time they clear me to go back to Washington. And
you have any anticipation on when that will be?
Yeah, I think right now, based on the time period, I was talking with a nurse at Atrium Health yesterday, and they said that I would most likely be cleared sometime on Monday afternoon or Tuesday.
All right, I know you want to talk about Cal Cunningham first, but I still want to talk about the outbreak of the coronavirus. The outbreak at the White House, nearly 24 people, they have fallen ill to COVID, of course, including President Trump. Many were at the Supreme Court announcement for Amy Coney Barrett, including yourself. Many were seen not wearing a mask, and according to a recent AP story, that includes you too.
Yeah, I wore a mask during the ceremony when we were out with the broader group, but I have to admit, when I went to the White House, we had a smaller setting. I took my mask off. I took my guard down because everybody in the room had been tested and tested negative over the past 2 hours before the event. But it's just a testament to the fact that even if you're in a safe setting that I thought that I was in, you should wear a mask. Having said that, Brian, I don't believe that I was infected at the White House. I had staff around me after the White House and over the course of the week. It seems more likely that I contacted it somewhere in the middle of the week. All my staff are quarantined. They've all tested negative.
Well, that is good news. And President Trump, since being released from the hospital, he says, don't be afraid of COVID. It's nothing more than the flu. And data shows otherwise, as we know, it's 5 times more lethal than the flu. Do you feel the same about COVID as the president does? Or do you have a newfound perspective right now about the coronavirus since contracting it yourself?
Well, Brian, one of the reasons why I've had 67 telephone town halls, the latest one today, is I take this virus very seriously. I know people who have died from it. I know people who've had acute cases that even after they ended the COVID virus, they're still having a number of complications. This is a very serious virus. I think what we're trying to do is strike the balance, though. I talk about victims of COVID who've never been infected with the virus, suicide hotlines, child abuse, domestic violence, alcoholism, drug overdoses are also victims of this virus. And we have to give the American people and people in North Carolina hope that we can get back to some sense of normalcy. And I don't think that's by taking the bait to say that we should shut down again. We need to figure out how to safely manage social distance, but give people hope that we can get back to some semblance of normal in the near time.
But when you see the president come out and say things like, don't be afraid of it, what are your thoughts when you see that?
Well, I think we should be afraid of the potential infectious nature of the disease, the complications that many people get. We should take it very seriously. There's a big difference between taking it seriously, doing your part to prevent the spread, and then have it shut you down and further compromise your ability to deal with it. I think that that's the fine balance that Governor Cooper is trying to strike, that I'm trying to strike. I think it's very important for people to know this is a very serious virus, and it is more deadly than the flu. And if we do our part by wearing masks, not even taking your guard down when you think you're in the safest setting you can be in, then we can beat the virus and we can get back to normal. And we've got to work on both of those fronts.
All right, let's talk about your opponent, Cal Cunningham, his recent sexting scandal, which he admits to. And he says this in a statement to Fox News. He says, quote, Senator Tillis and his allies are trying to exploit a personal matter and ignoring a family's request for privacy to make desperate attacks in hopes that they can distract from Senator Tillis's record.
Cal Cunningham put out a statement on Friday night after the first information about the texts were made public. Since then, we know a lot more. Cal Cunningham has been silent. He's avoided the press. He's canceled public events. Cal Cunningham on your station is running ads that says the truth matters. And I do believe that it matters. And I think that Cal Cunningham needs to come before the people of North Carolina and tell the truth. At the same time, I think that his wife in particular and his two teenage children, privacy should be protected. But Cal Cunningham is running for the U.S. Senate, and he's running on a premise of the truth matters. And I think that the people of North Carolina should get the truth, and it should not be a quick statement on Friday night after now we hear possibly a second relationship and something far more serious than an erroneous text. The people of North Carolina should hear the truth, and they should hear it from Cal Cunningham.
Okay, so talking about the truth here, what's the difference as opposed to, say, President Trump covering up his extramarital affairs in the run-up to the 2016 election?
Well, I think the biggest difference is based on the texts that were released. This is something that happened days or weeks ago in the midst of a campaign. Look, if we were talking about something that Cal may have been accused of that happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago, we may be having a different discussion. But even the text said over the past 100, worried about the next 100 days. This is contemporaneous issues when somebody's running on the truth matters. And at the same time, there are indications that maybe Cal wasn't being completely truthful. I think that's why it's relevant in this race right now. Okay,
Senator Tillis, anything else you want to add right now?
No, I think, Brian, just to make sure that people know that if they need help, make sure they call 211. If they're experiencing symptoms, if they feel like they've been exposed to someone, please make sure you go to the doctors, as I have, and follow their advice. That's the best way for us to prevent the spread and make sure people get the health care they need as quickly as they need it.